again for joining us on my podcast today. We will be going on a journey with a mother who lost her son. In this episode, we're talking about finding hope and calmness in the chaos of the loss of a son and how to get from grieving to believing. My guest today is Gwen. Gwen lost her son, and she is still feeling the grief and the pain of her loss. I cannot imagine what you go through when you lose a child, but I do know the loss has to be very devastating and painful for those who are grieving over the loss of a child. I would like to share this with you. Now, there is no stronger, braver, or more courageous mother than a mother that has experienced death of a child. A mother who has endured the unthinkable, and yet she still loves with every ounce of her being. A mother who has endured the worst pain and still is still brave enough to face another day. My guest today is such a woman. Gwen, thank you for being on my podcast today. Now, Gwen lost her son, and I know the grief is still with her. Your son was named Chris. When you meet someone with the name Chris, does it trigger or bring back any memories of your son?
Well, actually, my son is named Christopher Bruce Mitchell. However, we called him Chris. And what really triggers me, he was an athlete, and he wore the jersey number 22. And when I see anyone with number 22 on their jersey, it always brings me back to my son, Chris. And that triggers me more than anything. When watching football, if I see 22, I say, oh, Chris wore that number. And he was a basketball player.
Right.
So when I see basketball and I see number 22, I say, oh, Chris wore that number. So that always bring me back to the days when he was playing basketball.
Yeah.
Because his number was 22 from junior high to high school.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, great. That is a great memory.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and I can imagine, do you watch a lot of sports?
Yes, I do.
So, yeah, and that number pops up a lot.
Yes, 22.
Yes, it does. Now, Gwen, tell us a little about your son. Give us a little story of
Okay.
Chris.
My son was born in Columbus, Georgia, May the 26th, 1982. We moved to Albany, Georgia, when my son was 4 years old. So he spent his primary and high school years in Albany. He was an athlete. My son was totally different from me. He was very quiet. He was very humble. However, he had a lot of friends because he was well liked because of his kindness. My son was 6'4".
Okay.
And he played football from elementary school to junior high. Once he was in high school, he decided he just wanted to play basketball.
Right.
And upon graduation, he was the co-captain of the basketball team. And I just went to all of his games. I loved one of his girlfriends. Some I didn't like, but
Typical mother.
that's a mother. And he was the closest thing to me. I have 2 children. I have a daughter, but my daughter is 12 years older than my son, so he was like a little brother to her. But Christopher was just everything to me. We were very close.
Yeah.
He was a mama's boy.
Well, and that's kind of typical because a lot of times the sons gravitate more to the mothers, and the daughters gravitate for some reason more to the fathers.
And that's exactly right. Yes.
Right. Okay. Now I have been in a setting with you where you have spoke about losing your son, and you talked about how you were bitter
True.
because of his loss. Can you tell me, are you still bitter, or is that feeling still with you?
I'm not bitter anymore. However, when that happened, I was in disbelief. Grief comes in so many stages.
Oh yeah, I witnessed
And
it.
at the first At first, I was in disbelief. I was in shock. And I was like, why did this happen? My son was 20 years old. He died on the basketball court. He was playing basketball and had a heart attack and died. And I just was in shock. I was in disbelief. And yes, I was angry. I was so angry. And afterwards, I was really bitter because I always would tell him, you need to know how to do this, you need to know how to do that. Because if something happened to me, what are you going to do? I never thought what I would do if something happened to him. And I went to his grave every day for a year until I finally realized he was here in my heart. I tried therapy. It did not work for me.
Yeah.
Number one, the lady who was doing therapy, I asked questions, because I always do. She didn't have any children. And my question to her, if you don't have a child, how can you help me?
Right.
When I left therapy, I was worse off than when I went. So what really helped me was going to Bible study. They were in the book of Job. And you know, Job lost everything. Because I was bitter with God. Now, I'm being honest.
I understand. I understand.
And what turned me around was going to Bible study. And they were in the book of Job. So that was meant for me. Because Job lost everything, but he never stopped praising God.
Gave up,
and it helped me. I still cry. I'm glad I moved, though, and sold my house. Because when I went in my son's room, I could smell him, and I know that was in my mind. But I had to get away from that environment.
Yes.
And I'm thankful for that.
Sometimes that's what we have to do.
Stages come in different forms, and you can never tell a person how to grieve. I was so close to my son that I had a friend of mine to tell me why I just wouldn't kill myself and die, because that's just how close we were. And some people don't know what to say to you. When you are grieving, they say God knows best. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything.
Yeah.
The best thing to say is, I'm praying with you. Because you don't know what I'm going through. If you have never walked in my shoes, you don't feel my pain. And losing a child it doesn't compare to anything I've been through. I've lost a father, I've lost a mother, I've lost sisters, I've lost brothers, but losing my son, it was the most devastating thing I have ever been through in my life.
Now, I know in the past, you know, I've had friends and church members who lost someone, say a husband or a wife, and I'll say, you know, I'm praying for you. You know, you've got my condolences. But until you have had the experience of losing someone,
You don't know?
you don't even have any idea what they've gone through until you go through it yourself. And I know we all go through it differently, but then you realize that although what I said to that person, it still wasn't enough.
It's never enough.
No.
And it's nothing that you can do to take away the pain. And what people don't realize, once you lose someone, before the funeral, you got everybody around you. I mean, you can't turn for people. After the funeral and after they're laid to rest, you are alone with your grief, with your pain, and with everything that you're going through. Sometimes you just want to talk to someone, but by the same token, you know you just can't talk to everyone, because the first thing people will tell you, well, you should be over that by now. You can never tell a person how long to grieve.
No.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
Everyone is different, and everyone grieves differently.
Yeah, I have been very fortunate. I lost my husband first of the year, but I still have family and friends that check in on me.
I know.
Just call to see, how are you doing? You all right? Do you need anything? And I have learned from that experience that when I come in contact with someone else who has had a loss, that I will from now on do that same thing to them, because I understand how important it is to still have somebody concerned with you and for you months after you have gone through a loss, because it never leaves you.
Right, and that's my point. You feel so alone. And after losing my child, although I went back to work and I was riding around in the fire car, and I wanted to drive that car in the Flint River because I felt so alone. My loss was overtaken to
Devastating.
me. It was just so much. And I just said, God, I just can't take this anymore. And what I did, my phone rung, and it was my friend, Mary Johnson, and she could tell that I was in a bad place. She said, go home and read the 23rd Psalm. And I did exactly what she said. And that helped me that day. God always puts someone in place to help you when you need the help the most.
And the one thing we have to realize, but we can't when we're going through the loss, that no matter what he put on you, he's going to bring you through it. And you don't feel that way in the moment, but he's going to bring you through it if you just, what does he say? Be still
And wait.
and wait. Tell us something else that was unique about Chris.
Well, what I really loved about my son is we used to go out once a week and eat dinner because after my son's father and I got a divorce, it was just me and my son. So every week we would go to a restaurant and we would eat, and I truly enjoyed that because we were just that close. And when he got older, like at 16, he didn't have time to do that for me anymore because he had his own
Life,
friends
yes.
and his own life.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was left out, but then I had to realize he is growing into what he needs to be, so I have to accept that. So I got the satisfaction of going to his games and cheering for him because that's the time that I could show how proud I was him and how much he loved me for being there in the stands.
Right, right. Yeah, when there's only the two of you, I can understand how the closeness happened. Now, I realized that you just said you had another child,
I have a daughter, yeah.
But by the time Chris passed, she was out of the house.
Oh, she was grown, had
Yeah.
graduated from college, had her own family and her own career.
How did she deal with Chris?
She dealt with it better than I did. She's the one that helped me because, like I said, I was in a deep depression.
Right.
And she was really there for me. It bothered her, but she was at the point in her life from going to school, and also her co-major was psychology. It was different from her. Her grief was different from my grief.
Yes.
She missed Christopher, but she wasn't as devastated as I was. And she helped me to try to overcome because I was getting deeper and deeper into a depression. And she had just had to come and talk to me one day. And this is what she said to me. She said, Mother, you got to realize Chris is gone. He's in a better place. He would not want you here like this. And you need to realize you have another child. Now, that's what she told me.
Now, was there any signs before before he passed? Was there any sign that he had any problems?
There were no signs. He always had a checkup because, before they could play,
Yeah.
they had to have a
Always.
checkup. They had to have a checkup. There were no signs. And like I said, I wasn't there because my son died here in Atlanta. He was here with his father going to college. I was in Albany. But what happened the day before he died, he called me. He said, Mama, I love you. And I would never forget that. And he didn't only call me, he called his sister. And he told her he loved her. And the next day, he was gone.
Well, sometimes God let us see what we need to do because He has a plan for us.
And I would never
And
forget that.
he had a plan.
Before I don't know if he knew, but he called us and told us that he loved us. And the next day, he was gone.
Now I know it's been a while since Chris has
It's been
passed.
23 years.
Where are you today with that grief?
God has given me peace. This is the first year on his birthday I didn't go into a depression. This is the first, he died August the 5th, 2002. This is the first time I did not go into a deep depression.
Now, see, I knew before we sat down here, I should have been prepared and I should have had you some Kleenex because I knew we both were going to be in tears. But I'm going to get you some right now.
And during Thanksgiving and Christmas, my heart always go there because he's missing. But I have peace now, and I'm thankful for that. Thank you. Do you need one?
Thank you. I know that they tell us that we're never supposed to bury a child, but God has a different plan for us. Now I know you had some thoughts and some doubts about coming on the podcast today and revisiting.
Yes, I did.
This loss and your grief.
Yes.
Now that you're here, how do you feel?
I feel good because one thing I realize, you don't ever know who is listening and who needs to hear things that happen to other people and to know there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep.
And I remember my grandmother used to say, if he take you to it, he'll take you through it. And back then, I never knew what she meant. But you were right. Whatever we go through, he's always there. He's holding us at the time we're going through it. But like I said, when you're in shock and you're angry
You don't
and you're
understand that.
bitter, you don't realize that. But God has given me hope and God has given me peace. And being on this podcast, if someone is listening and has lost a child, I hope they know that there is hope and you will feel joy again.
Yep. Now I know that it's been a moment, and I know that Chris, as an athlete, probably had a bright future ahead of him. But when you lost Chris, did you think that you would survive? Did you think this is it for me, or can I go on?
Well, at first, like I told you, I didn't think I could. But after going to Bible study saved me.
Saved your life?
Bible study saved me. After going to Bible study and the book of Job, it is what brought me back and lifted me up. Because I had tried everything and nothing helped.
Isn't it amazing that when we have a loss, we have this, trying to think of the right word, we have this blame that we put on God. But isn't it amazing how that religion will bring us back to where we need to be?
Amen. And you are so right. Because if it was not for God, where would I be? And when my son died, I was 51 years old. I'm 74 today. And I am happy and relieved because guess what? Grieving to believing is real.
And I'm glad to hear you say, because my next question was, did you think that you would ever find joy, peace, and happiness again after your loss?
I didn't think it at the time, but it has happened for me.
Over the years?
Over the years, and that's such a blessing. Like I said, it's been 23 years. So it's a blessing. I was 51 when he passed. So it's been a while, but God has given me peace. I have joy, and I have hope, and I have love.
Now, I was going to ask you, how did you help your siblings, his siblings get through this, but I understand from you that it's your daughter who helped you get through this.
Absolutely.
You know, she was your
She
saving
was,
grace through all of
yes,
this.
she helped me. Yes. I didn't need to help her, but she had to help me. And I thank God for her every day.
Now, did you, now you said you went to grief counseling, but you did not find it helpful for you at all.
No, I didn't.
Um,
When I left there, I was in tears. I could hardly drive my car. It was the worst thing I ever been through in my life.
and I wonder if it had been someone who maybe had more compassion, would it have been a different experience for you?
Maybe if it had been someone who had some children, it would have been a different experience for me. You not having a child, it just didn't work for me because you couldn't understand. You couldn't understand the love that a parent have for a child when you don't have one. People that don't have children don't really understand how people love their children.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So that was a red flag for me. Because, and then furthermore, she was like 22. So no, that didn't help me at all. I went for a week and that was it.
So,
I'm not saying everyone is like that. She was the wrong person for me.
yes, you were, yeah, honest. I really believe that. I really believe that if you had somebody that was a better match for you, it may have been easier for you, not necessarily change you, but it would
It
have
might
been
have helped me,
Yeah,
but it was just, and then I might have just been too much for her too.
yeah.
Because like I said, I asked a lot of questions. That's how I found out she didn't have any children. And it just didn't work for me. You don't have any children. You don't understand the love that a mother has for a child when you don't have one.
Now, after you had lost Chris in your grief that you were going through, during that period, did you did you did you think about it? Did you turn to God or did you turn away from Him?
At the at the time that it happened, I turned away because I just couldn't understand. And and I just couldn't understand why my child was taken. I would have rather him take me instead of taking my son.
Yeah,
And so I'm being honest, I turned away.
yeah. And but I don't think people who've had devastating losses, like, I've lost a lot of people in my life. My mother, my brother, but when it's a devastating loss, like my husband and your son, I don't think, if you haven't gone through it, I don't think people can understand how, for maybe just an instant, it has an effect on your religious belief. Or, I mean, it's, it's hard for some people to understand that, but it happens. I mean, you question everything.
And that's true. And I also remember recalling that when I did the Bible class, and I had people to come up to me afterwards and saying that, how could you do that? But you hadn't been in my shoes, so you don't understand.
Right.
I know I serve an awesome God. But at that time, it was anger, I was shocked, it was disbelief, and I was bitter. And that was just the way it was. I'm at a better place. I know God loved me, and I know I love Him, and I have an intimate relationship with Him. I understand now, and I know things happen for a reason. But at that time, I did not understand.
You can't understand. You can, I mean, your brain will not allow you to understand why this happened, and especially to a child that's that young and have all these potentials that he had as an athlete. And and I'm sure that you guys talked about his future. you
Yeah.
know, and not understanding that God did not have a future for him.
True.
But in the end, you have to think about God does not do anything without a reason. You can't understand that he needed Chris more than you did. You know, those things are very, very hard and very difficult to understand when this grief happens to you. You know, there's no understanding anybody can tell you. There's no understanding anybody can make you understand, you know. And I am so glad that you have come to a better place in your life,
Me too.
because I can't understand, but I can imagine where you must have come from and how you got through the fire
Ooh,
to where you are now.
it was a journey.
I know.
It really was a journey. But I am so thankful and I'm so relieved that God has given me peace. I don't cry every day like I used to.
Yeah.
I don't go to the cemetery at all anymore because I know He is here in my heart.
Yes.
So I am at a different place. I know things happen for a reason, but at that time I did not.
You don't.
But I understand it more. And that comes from wisdom and my intimate relationship with God.
I understand.
I have come a long way, and the journey was not easy, but it was worth living.
And you said a while ago that holidays, birthdays, special occasions have gotten easier for you.
Easier, yes. I can smile. I can think about Him and smile,
Yeah.
and not think about Him and cry.
Yeah. Now, you know, because when you get to that point of your loss, then those holidays, or when you remember when you shared them together, you remember those birthdays when you had special birthday parties for him.
Yes, yes.
You know, so it gets easier as time goes on, but it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight.
Nope.
You know, and I am trying to get to where you are.
It takes time.
And I understand it's going to take time for me because I still have my moments.
No,
And
you do. You're fresh.
there is a total difference between losing a child
And
that
a
you
hus-
brought into this world and losing a mate.
Yes.
Total different. Tell me how God has come into your life now, uh, over the years since you've lost Chris.
Well, I have learned to understand death because, like I said, I've been through so much of it,
Right.
and I realized death is the great equalizer. And when I came to that conclusion, everything was smooth sailing because death is the great equalizer. One day, the sun is not going to shine on me. So that's where I am.
And your son Chris was taken away from you. Do you think then and now that God mistreated you?
Not now. I don't. Because I know that's impossible.
Isn't that a great travel?
What?
To travel from that point to this point?
Now I know that's not. Because it's impossible. God loves us all.
All of us.
And we all are God's children. And like I just said, death is the great equalizer. One day we all going that way. Anyone born of a woman is going to die. So I'm at a different place. I understand the process. But when it happened to me, no, I did not. But I do know that we serve an awesome God, and He does not do anything to harm us. Like it says, no weapon formed against us shall prosper. It didn't say no weapon won't be against us, it said it wouldn't prosper.
That's right.
So it's a difference.
Well, I know that you now know and believe that God loves you.
Yes, he does.
And you did not get through this grief until where you are today by yourself.
No.
He walked with you.
All the time.
And he talked with you.
All the time.
And that's how you got to where you are now.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
I am telling you all this.
Yes.
But I need to get to my. I need to get there
he's
myself.
He's still walking with you and talking to you.
I know, and I understand. But like we said, it's a process.
Oh, it's a process. It's stages.
You may know all this, but it's a process, getting there.
And you never tell anyone how to grieve, because my grief is different from your grief. Your grief is different from my grief.
Right.
So it's a journey. It's stages. Your stages might take longer. Mine took a while now. It wasn't overnight. Like I said, I went to the cemetery for a whole year every day. I went to that cemetery every day for a whole year until God stopped me and said, he's not there. He's here.
Yep.
He's in your heart.
Yep.
So you're right. He walked with me. He talked with me. And he let me know that I was his child. And he still loved me no matter what.
Now, what are some of the memories that keep coming back to you to make you smile and to hold on to this child that you have lost, but hold on to him in a different form than you did when you first lost him?
Well, for the main memory is knowing how much he loved me. I mean, he truly loved me.
I'm sure. I know he did.
And when I think about that love, it's just so amazing and so uplifting. And that what keeps me smiling, because I knew he loved me. And also, before he died, he called me to tell me he loved me.
Yeah.
So
he wanted you to hear that one last time.
I love you. And it was so powerful. And that sticks with me every day, because that's the last thing he said to me. Mama, I love you.
Isn't it amazing how powerful those 3 words are when you hear it from somebody who really means it and carry you in their heart?
Yes. And I carry him in mine. And I love him.
Always.
Forever.
Yep. And that's the love of a mother for her child.
Yes.
You know, you may love other people and they may leave, and that love or that feeling may eventually over time just fade away. But it's something about the love of a mother for her child.
It never fades.
It never fades, no matter if they pass, no matter if they get grown and leave the house. Mother's love is such a strong, it is unbelievable.
Yes.
How strong that love is. Now, do you think that you have gone from grieving to believing? And tell us why.
Well, yes, the answer is yes. And the reason is because we serve an awesome God. And being in church and being in Bible study has truly helped me understand that. And that's how I went from grieving to believing. Because like I told you, going to church and going to Bible study helped me. So God is my foundation, but church helped me get there as well.
Right.
So I really have gone from grieving to believing because of my faith. And I stand on the word because that's what he wants us to do.
Right. You're right. Amen. Amen. Now, Revelation 21, and I think verse 4 says, we are assured that God will ultimately wipe away every tear from our eyes. In his presence, there will be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain. Uh, Thank you very, very much, Gwen, for coming on this podcast and sharing your journey with us because it has been an amazing journey. And you are an amazing woman to have come through this fire and be at the place you are now and still have held on to your beliefs and your religion. That is an awesome thing. Now, thank you guys for listening to our podcast today. We will return in 2 weeks with another broadcast on Grieving to Believing, and I hope to see you there. Now, if you have comments, questions, or would like to be on the podcast, leave your information in the comment section or email me. The email address again is chrisgreen7283 at comcast.net.